Around the world, 2017 started so quietly in the tropics that we had to wait over a month to debut Force 13's new storm update graphics. One on Cyclone Carlos, which has just formed in the southwest Indian Ocean at 3 p.m. UTC, February 4th, 2017. It's got winds of 40 miles an hour and a pressure of 996 millibars, and warnings are now springing into effect. There you can see what the effects are likely to be. The tropical storm wind field in the green orb over there, and then you can see it moving towards the south. There's Mauritius with Port Louis. Pretty much the whole island may well be under tropical storm conditions, and Réunion as well by Monday. Cyclone Enawo was the second furthest south cyclone to make landfall in Africa, and the furthest south cyclone of hurricane strength to do so. Enawo caused significant damage in Mozambique in February 2017. Update 6 on Cyclone Enawo, which is steaming towards Madagascar with winds of 145 miles an hour and a pressure of around 945 millibars. It's a Category 4 on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale, and it's currently at 14.2 south, 52.5 east at 5 p.m. UTC, March the 6th. A red alert is in effect for Madagascar, where cyclonic conditions are expected within the next 12 hours. What's worse than that is that the storm could make landfall even as a Category 5 in the next 12 hours perhaps, but certainly it appears that the storm will have Category 4 intensity at landfall and then move inland and possibly move over the capital as a tropical storm, or maybe even slightly stronger, who knows. As you can see, that's how it compares against the averages for 1960 to 2016, a long way to go yet, but already it's beginning to fill its quota in strong storms in 2017. We have been waiting a while. Believe it or not, there's never been an occasion in the recorded record for a very long time, at least long before satellites, that we did not have a major hurricane strength storm in January or February. It's never happened. We're at 8 storms for 2017, still well below average, and until recently the ACE was the lowest since 1931. Hodson has lost all his confidence, and you know who stole it? Cesar Games and the likes of him. They stole it. And we're going to build a great big wall stopping the likes of Cesar Games from infiltrating Hodson's vulnerable mind. And who's going to pay for it? We will make Hodson grin again. We will make Hodson laugh again. And most importantly, we will make Hodson great again. This International Space Station video of Cyclone Debbie turned out to be the most popular video ever on the Force 13 channel by a factor of 3. Goodness knows why. Well, I can tell you why. It was because this particular video was put on many websites that you may be familiar with, such as the Sydney Morning Herald, ABC, MSN, Russia Today, CNN, BuzzFeed, Mashable, and The Guardian, and for a time became the #1 top trending video on YouTube Australia. Remarkable, and I have Jason to thank for that one, I have to say. Afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are around the world. This is Force 13 Live. My name's Nathan Foy, as you can see. Wonderful. And we're tracking Cyclone Debbie, of course. Why wouldn't we? Cyclone Debbie, which is approaching the coast of Australia. There it is, the latest on the storm there. Our coverage has begun. We can turn that off now. 120 miles per hour, 943 millibars is the latest, 92 miles north of Mackay, 72 miles east-northeast of Bowen, 167 miles east-southeast of Townsville. Landfall is imminent in the next few hours. This is Force 13 Live. Hello, my name's Nathan Foy. I'm over here. Hi. You're watching Force 13 Live. This is Cyclone Debbie, which we are tracking right now. Where is it? Oh, it's there. Cyclone Debbie approaching Australia, 66 miles from Bowen at the latest update. Hello, you're watching Force 13 Live. The rain's falling. I'm here. My name's Nathan Foy. Hello, and we're joined by the Skype team, as always, during this hour. In this hour, we're joined by Leighton, Craig, and David, just as we were in the last. Hello, welcome back. This is Force 13 Live. My name's Nathan Foy. Over here, camera 1, camera 2, over there somewhere. And we're into our fourth hour of coverage on Cyclone Debbie. And of course, I'm joined this evening, or this morning as it is in Australia, by our Skype team. Hello, welcome back. This is Force 13 Live. I'm Nathan Foy. Hello, here's my face over here. And we're also joined by the Skype team. It's not about me, and it's not even, to be honest, about them. It's about Cyclone Debbie, and we're just bringing to you the latest information on the storm as it comes about. Hello and welcome back. This is Force 13 Live, entering what I believe is our 6th hour of coverage here. Hello, my name is Nathan Foy. You can see me here. Camera 1, camera 2 over there somewhere. And all of you out there as well wanting to know the latest on Cyclone Debbie, which of course we will oblige, because that is the most important thing. Not myself, not the Skype team, even though they are here. We're only the servants who are delivering the information to you during this important time. This is our 8th hour of coverage on Cyclone Debbie, 1 o'clock UTC. My name is Nathan Foy. I'm joined by the Skype team. We'll hear from them shortly. But we've got the latest on Cyclone Debbie. Severe Tropical Cyclone Debbie, as the Bureau of Meteorology call it. Category 4 still on the Australian scale. Likely, well, we're still asking the question. Has it made landfall? Hasn't it made landfall? We're going to find out pretty soon, I think. Update 8 on Cyclone Debbie, which is making landfall right now on the coast of Queensland, very close to Airlie Beach. 120 miles an hour and a pressure of 946 millibars right now at 3 a.m. UTC, March 28th. And this is the latest imagery. The storm is stalling just about off the coast of Queensland. It is in the process of making landfall on the mainland if it hasn't done so already. Don't forget, this imagery has a slight delay. Storm's general movement has been towards the southwest, and it's just about been maintaining Category 3 intensity. Category 3 conditions on the Sappho-Simpson hurricane scale have been recorded on Hamilton Island. And then it was time to go on vacation, and predictably, yes, I missed another Category 5 storm, at least we think it was, Cyclone Ernie of the South Indian Ocean, and I can't quite fathom how it wasn't officially a Category 5, but there it is anyway. Meanwhile, I was exploring the Atlantic Hurricane Nursery, the Cape Verde Islands, where I was stranded for several nights in the middle of nowhere in the desert. Then we saw the debut of the Tropical Weather Bulletin, and I'm certainly a fan of these. From Force 13 HQ, this is April 14th, 2017. Here's your Tropical Weather Bulletin. Ah yes, it's good to be back. 14th of April 2017. We have 3 MVS active, no active cyclones however, but that may change over the coming days if some models are to be believed. So right now we have these 3 systems all in the eastern hemisphere either side of the equator, 92B in the Indian Ocean, 92W in the Western Pacific, 96S near Australia. We're going to take a look at 92W though, our main feature tonight. Predictably, it wasn't long until something silly happened. From Force 13 HQ, this is April 20th, 2017. Here's your Tropical Weather Bulletin. Happy Thursday. 1L is active in the Atlantic. Subtropical depression has formed in the last 24 hours and has only a few more hours to show us what it's made of before being absorbed. Welcome to another episode of Mother Nature Redefines the Laws of Atmospheric Science with Tropical Storm Arlene, which has formed in the Atlantic on this April 20th. Remarkably, with 50-mile-an-hour winds and a pressure of 992 millibars, defined by Force 13 SATOPS. But here's where Mother Nature has redefined the laws of meteorology in the tropics. 18 Celsius the sea surface temperatures, and I think in future everyone is going to have to say that that is the new benchmark for tropical cyclone development. Roll on the Medicanes. But there it is, and it's going to drop even further as the storm moves towards the northwest. But what has helped Arlene a lot is really low wind shear. It's been near nil for quite some time now, actually. And then the West Pacific woke up but began its season as it meant to go on, with a pathetic weak storm called Muifa. First named storm of the Western Pacific, Tropical Storm Muifa, has formed as of April 26 at 3 a.m. UTC. It had winds of 40 miles an hour and a pressure of 1002 millibars, 13.2 degrees north, 134.7 degrees east. So, it's 343 miles northwest of Yap, 647 miles east of the closest point of the Philippines, Palapag, on the island of Samar. But the Southern Hemisphere said, wait for me, I haven't finished yet, and Francis formed in the Australian region. Update 1 on Cyclone Francis, which has formed in the Timor Sea. As of 3 p.m. UTC, April 27th, it had winds of 50 miles per hour and a pressure of 994 millibars. And Donna in the South Pac. Update 2 on Cyclone Donna, which is currently located to the north of Vanuatu at 9 a.m. UTC, May the 4th. It had winds of 90 miles per hour and a pressure of 977 millibars. It's at 12.5 south, 167.9 degrees east, and cyclone warnings are in effect for some of those northern islands. Then we saw the beginning of the new What Might Have Been series in the Pacific Ocean, the East Pacific, which is still in progress as of the end of 2017. There will be more of these animations in 2018, and this is also where the newest iteration of the storm icons made their debut, receiving mixed reviews. Some people prefer old, some people prefer the new. We'll try and work on an in-between at some point in the future. And then we started to see the first glorious results from GOES-16, the new satellite that was launched in the early part of the year, and it was just as well with the activity that followed. Tonight on Debate 13.
The United States will withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord.
Welcome to Debate 13, our newest program here on Force 13, where for an hour, at least on this occasion, we'll be discussing what's in the news with opinion from our panel. Update 1 on Tropical Storm Merbok, which has formed in the South China Sea to the west of the Philippines and heading towards China itself and the Hong Kong area potentially as well. Winds of 40 miles an hour and a pressure of 1001 millibars at 3 p.m. UTC on June the 11th, 18.4 north, 116.4 degrees east, and Signal 1 standby warnings have been raised in Hong Kong and in Macau. Over the next few days, we expect that this system will intensify not very much. Earlier model runs were saying that it could possibly have been a typhoon landfall within 50 miles of Hong Kong, but it now appears as though it's going to be little more than a weak tropical storm, but of course we'll remain vigilant if it does grow any stronger. Update 1 on Tropical Storm Calvin, which has just formed off the coast of Mexico, where tropical storm warnings are in effect. As of 9 p.m. UTC, June 12th, it had winds of 40 miles per hour and a pressure of 1005 millibars. Hello, special update on Invest 92L, located in the central Atlantic at 3 p.m. UTC on June 17th. It had winds of 30 miles an hour and a pressure of 1008 millibars. It's at 5.8 degrees north, 41 degrees west, and no warnings are in effect at this time. But as you can see, the system is expected to move towards the west or west-northwest and could affect South America or Trinidad or the Windward Islands, the rest of the Windward Islands, into the Eastern Caribbean. Here's your tropical weather bulletin. Hello, Monday morning. It's midnight UTC this June 19th, and we have two systems active right now, 92L and 93L, though 92, the one which is approaching the Windward Islands, could be becoming a tropical cyclone at any time. There are tropical storm warnings in effect on that one, and of course it's what we're going to be looking at tonight. What is now pre-Cyclone 3L, we still can't get our head around how we do these things, but what they think will be the next tropical storm is going to form in the Gulf of Mexico, and tropical storm warnings have been issued for Louisiana and tropical storm watches extending into Texas. It should look pretty well defined at around 1 o'clock, and now it seems to be less defined, but guys, if you're seeing this right now, what are your thoughts? Landfall or no landfall?
It looks really close.
I think it might be parallel.
Very close.
I
Yes,
think
and
in that last frame that you're looking at there, it's right on the outline of that coast. And bearing in mind that the last image of that would have been 15 minutes ago, we're going to be we're calling this a landfall at this moment in time.
Yeah, I'll support that.
We're going to get straight to the information first of all. There are warnings in effect that have been issued. A tropical storm warning for Grenada, a tropical storm watch in effect for Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and St. Lucia. Tropical Storm Don has just formed, and its winds right now are 40 miles per hour with a pressure of 1,009 millibars. Let me bring in the Skype team right now. They are there somewhere. Let me fade them in. First of all, David, how are you? Nope, that's the wrong microphone. We'll find David shortly. And whilst the Atlantic was producing these little distractions, Hurricane Dora became the first hurricane to be recorded by the GOES-16 satellite in the Eastern Pacific. Update 1 on Tropical Storm Namadol, Philippine name Imong. At 3 p.m. UTC on July the 2nd, it was located very close to the Yayama and Miyako Islands of the Japan Ryukyu Islands chain, not too far from Taiwan, 23.9 degrees north, 124.4 degrees east. And then we had this curious little character, Tropical Depression 4 in the Atlantic. Depression? Storm? Anything? You decide. This was followed by our second hurricane on the GOES-16 satellite, and the first major, Eugene, which was immediately followed by the second, Hurricane Fernando, which almost became a Category 5. And then the GFS model decided it was silly season, making its Typhoon Noru of the Western Pacific, as it would soon be known, a sub-880 millibar typhoon on more than one occasion. On one instance, as Craig would not like me to tell you, became 865 millibars according to the model. Of course, it never verified. And just as Typhoon Noru was developing, it was time to go on vacation again. And whilst all this loveliness was happening, Typhoon Noru was peaking as a Category 5. Yep, another one that I missed whilst away. It isn't deliberate. Meanwhile, in the Atlantic, Franklin made landfall, and Gert was on his way to forming. And after being mesmerised by Hurricane Gert on the 1-minute visible imagery for a few days, it finally started to peak as it was moving off the coast of the US and became what I personally think was a Category 3 storm. The National Hurricane Center yet to release their post-analysis on this at the time of broadcast. We'll wait and see, but it looks like one to me. Everyone has their own opinions, of course, and then this happened. Force 13 live, solar eclipse live. It's occurring, folks, and it's just 15 minutes away from occurring in Oregon. I'm not sure if that view is still from Madras, Oregon, but that is a picture, I think, from the NASA plane.
They're most likely going to start roosting.
Yeah, because they think it'll be nighttime.
And that's what it looks like over there in Newport, Oregon right now.
Look at that.
There we are. There is the live shot of the eclipse first occurring.
More red. Oh my god, the solar smile's back again.
It's like an atomic bomb.
Good evening, this is Force 13 Live. Hello, my name's Nathan Foy. How are you this evening? And we are tracking Tropical Depression Harvey, which has reformed in the Bay of Campeche in the Gulf of Mexico, moving off towards the northwest, or it will do soon. Presently, it's stationary. But with hurricane watches in effect for the coast of Texas, along with storm surge watches as well, and tropical storm watches too, there's plenty to talk about in this and ensuing hours. Force 13's live coverage of Hurricane Harvey begins right now at 6 p.m. UTC on August 24th. It's got winds of 85 miles an hour, a pressure of 979 millibars, and that pressure is decreasing as the day wears on and the storm continues to intensify as it continues towards the northwest.
You know, it's something to behold that such a hurricane at this has pretty much defied all expectations of it. It's pretty much bent the boundaries quite a bit, and pretty much near off all of its life. It's bent all of it. It's pushed the boundaries by quite a substantial margin. You know, and looking at the last image, this eye is just getting better and better, and it's getting a lot more defined and a better defined stadium effect.
Yeah, this is honestly a very scary situation, especially for anybody that had decided to stay on the coastline and ride this thing out. Hopefully none of the viewers are one of those people, but if you are, get ready to hunker down.
Hurricane Harvey was the 8th named storm of the 2017 hurricane season and was the first storm to make a major hurricane landfall in the United States since 2005, ending the longest such gap in United States history. Harvey is also tied for the 4th strongest hurricane landfall along the coast of Texas. Whilst its damage total is not yet known, it is at least the 3rd costliest storm in United States history. From Force 13 HQ, this is September 4th, 2017. Here's your tropical weather bulletin. Good morning, September 4th, and we currently have Irma, of course, still a Category 3 and fluctuating between the categories as it moves through the central Atlantic. This is where we expect it to track in detail over the next 3 days or so. By Tuesday evening, passing through the islands into Wednesday morning, and by the end of Wednesday it will be north of Puerto Rico and probably moving towards the Turks and Caicos Islands.
To be honest, this is the most starkest warning or statement I've ever heard come out of the NHC, and this is what they say. Potentially catastrophic Category 5 Hurricane Irma heading toward the Leeward Islands. Preparations should be nearing completion in the easternmost Leeward Islands. And if you haven't done that, well, you're running out of time and you need to do it now.
Update 19 on Hurricane Irma, still a Category 5 with winds of 175 miles an hour and a pressure of 922 millibars. This estimate coming just before the National Hurricane Center's update, they may say slightly differently. 21 degrees north, 71 degrees west, and hurricane warnings are in effect for the whole of the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos Islands, which the storm is pretty much upon right now, and then moving very close for comfort towards Florida. We don't know at this point whether or not it will make landfall there in southeastern Florida, but it still remains a distinct possibility. But looking at the infrared imagery here, its eye wall is still remaining mostly intact in the northwestern side, which is the most vulnerable side it would appear at this moment.
Welcome to another update by Force 13 on Hurricane Katia.
a relatively small hurricane expected to make landfall later today.
We also have Hurricane Jose, which rapidly intensified into a very powerful Category 4 hurricane today. It appears to be losing some strength, just looking at satellite imagery alone, but regardless, it's still a very powerful and dangerous hurricane, and should be moving right towards the Leeward Islands, which unfortunately were the same islands that just took a direct hit from Hurricane Irma.
Latest on Hurricane Irma, which has regained Category 5 status at the last minute as it's making landfall in Cuba. It's now 1 mile inland, believe it or not. Winds of 160 miles an hour and a pressure of 924 millibars makes it the strongest Cuba landfall in 93 years.
Welcome to another update by Force 13 on Hurricane Jose, which currently has winds of 145 miles per hour with gusts up to 170 miles per hour. Pressure of 945 millibars.
Latest update on Hurricane Irma, which made landfall an hour ago on the Florida Keys and is now moving towards the southwestern part of the mainland. At 3 p.m. UTC, it had winds of 130 miles per hour and a pressure of 933 millibars. It's at 24.8 north, 81.4 degrees west, and hurricane warnings remain in effect for most parts of the state. Update 2 on Tropical Storm Maria, the latest in a relentless train of Atlantic cyclone activity, and it's sparking more hurricane warnings right now in the Lesser Antilles. Update 6 on Hurricane Maria, which now has winds of 150 miles an hour according to Force 13's latest analysis, 20 miles an hour higher than the National Hurricane Center's analysis, albeit, but Category 4 nonetheless on both counts. 15.1 degrees north, 60.6 degrees west, and this is a rapidly intensifying hurricane which could approach Category 5 intensity as it passes through the Lesser Antilles and then onto Puerto Rico and the Hispaniola. Maria then went on and gave Puerto Rico hell, as we all know, making landfall there as a Category 4 before moving on out over the open Atlantic. And then we had Hurricane Nate, one of the storms that will be forgotten in 2017, quite possibly, in the shadow of the big trio that we did have, causing misery in Nicaragua and making landfall as a hurricane in the United States as well. Update 2 on Hurricane Ophelia, which is still a significant hurricane in the eastern Atlantic and not moving particularly quickly, but it is starting to get a spurt on as it approaches the Azores. By our reckoning, it's a Category 1 with winds of 90 miles an hour and a pressure of 974 millibars as of the publication time. The National Hurricane Center still going with 100 miles an hour Category 2, but same difference. And then Ophelia did the impossible and became a Category 3 hurricane near the Azores and steamed towards Ireland. It was still a Category 1 12 hours before landfall in the southern part of Ireland. This is a Force 13 update at 1 p.m. UK time, 12 p.m. UTC. This is Force 13's NAMS page, which is the top link on the bottom of your screen. You can access it. And this will have the latest updates on Ophelia as it continues into Ireland. Moved west of forecast in the last 24 hours, which means that it's just grazing the western coast right now. Earlier we were thinking that maybe it would make landfall near Cork, but it appears now that Cork is on the eastern side. Doesn't really help things very much because the strongest winds are on the eastern side of the storm. And to finish off the year, nature decided to acknowledge what I said at the start, and to bring on the Medicanes. Update 1 on a new subtropical storm that's formed in the Mediterranean Sea. Surprise, November 2017, a typical time of year for a system like this to form if it ever does. 40 miles an hour, a pressure of 1003 millibars, and gale warnings are in effect for parts of Italy, and thunderstorm warnings are out in force in Italy and in Greece. It's at 36.1 degrees north, 17.6 degrees east. So we've got just over 1 minute to go. The first thing we're going to show actually is these these pictures here showing Force 13's top 40 storms. So we're just going to count from 40 down to number 11 and then we'll do the top 10. 5 seconds, start streaming. Once it's confirmed, we take the image off, we put the video on and we start playing. that's now being outputted. It's not picking up my audio on the headphones, which is very nice to know. And it's just playing out now. Just going to have to turn that off. Don't make the childlike error of having your browser's volume on, because you'll get double trouble then. Everything that's supposed to be off is off. And I'll put these headphones on because I'm speaking shortly.
We take a look at Force 13's
Keep it rolling
10.
for just a minute.
Marcel plays the Super Cyclone Challenge.
The Super Cyclone Challenge.
And
that's coming up tonight.
Comedy Hour.
Comedy Hour as well coming up tonight.
Thinking that might be every night, but it
that's
is
just basically what
to be that tonight.
Another version of me is saying on the video right now. What's coming up tonight?
There's also just 1 hour
and
left to submit your votes for the viewers
top 10,
which will air tomorrow.
Just to check the stream is working well, everyone knows what's going on.
2017.html.
Now I'm going to turn my microphone on. And welcome to Force 13 live tonight, and here I am on the webcam at last. My name is Nathan Foy. We are live doing the Force 13's top 10 tonight. You weren't expecting that, were you? Nor was I, actually.